Yeah, a lot of people know about them now, I guess, because it wasn't that bad last time I called.
Take one each, pass them over.
Yeah.
I'd like to butcher pigs myself if I could do
So
it.
Mark really wanted to do one of ours this year himself, and we tried to get our nephew, our 28-year-old nephew, to come down and do it with him, because it's a big animal to do.
Yeah,
You know, you gotta hoist it and everything
Yeah, yeah.
else to do by yourself, but nobody,
I wanted to build a smokehouse. I have
everybody
plans
that he
for a
has,
smokehouse.
everybody he has broached the topic with has sort of looked at him
Right.
like he's nuts.
I've got this slope at the back of my house.
There's another one.
The model's built up and it kind of goes down like this, almost immediately, you know? And I was thinking dig that in so it's square, and I wanted to build a cinder block foundation and build a smokehouse on it, so it was right
Oh,
down
yeah.
to the ground.
No, it's just for Jill purposes.
Because none of them,
Especially since she's not gonna be here too much.
like
Exactly.
West Gardner and those places, they don't actually, when you get smoked meat, no, it's all, it's chemical, it's
Oh, yeah.
treated with smoke or whatever, none of it is actually,
Right, that's why I'd like to do an actual smokehouse.
some,
Denise
couple people.
Laflamme's brother, Mark, used to have a smokehouse down there on Mill Pond Road.
Yep.
And the one I wanted to build was along the same lines. But
We've done just like bacon and some friends of ours do it quite frequently. They'll do it just in like a Weber, kettle style Weber grill.
Yep.
If you're not doing that much. And you can do bacon or
Right.
half a ham.
Right,
or-
right. I was thinking I was going to build a 4x4 foundation out of cinder block with one, spot for a stovepipe in there. And then I wanted to build like a lane with a barrel stove and a couple different lengths of pipe, so I could do cold smoking and hot smoking,
Yep.
and move it down as needed to. So, and then right level with my lawn would have been like the shed that you open, and it's so easy to build. Like one guy I saw took a bunch of 2x4s and drilled holes in them, and then sliced them in half, and then stuck those on the walls, so you had a spot to put your dowels, and you had
Right.
racks and everything.
Exactly.
What's the difference between firefighters paid and firefighters volunteer? They both cost money.
Right, right.
No, there is no, it's a code.
Well, that's what I meant, that's all I was wondering.
It's a code, and the code is, the factor is actually the same on them.
I know, the fact that they call it volunteer fire, they
that's
don't
an
get
old-
paid per hour.
It's an old adage, that's why it's
Is that
just
code
stuck.
for fall?
Nobody does anything
No,
anymore
it's a
for,
part-time fighter, no, exactly.
nobody
That's
does any
for his
money.
salary.
nothing for free.
If you
I
read
think.
the old comprehensive
I don't
plan,
know, though.
it seems to have been predicated on this notion of like building community and volunteerism and what have you, and it just, no, it doesn't really happen anymore.
The days of the volunteer stuff they've gone by, but there are still people that do volunteer, there's no
Yeah.
doubt, but they are far and few between. It's usually special people that do it.
I was gonna say, most of them are 90 years old.
You know,
and they're
it's
not
like the
gonna be around
lodge, when
anymore.
we have some of our suppers, a lot of guys volunteer their time.
Right.
The problem with it is it's always the same ones.
That's it.
And eventually they
They're
get
gonna be
burned out,
gone,
and when they
right.
stop, if somebody don't step up to the plate, they die.
Are we ready?
I am.
We are ready.
Okay, I'll call this meeting to order. This is actually just for a budget workshop, and so we'll
Hand it to me? Oh. Okay, well, I was just about to figure out the percentage increase in health insurance, but I guess I won't get there yet.
We shut those doors.
Okay.
It's just
You
kinda
can try
loud.
closing one, but we should leave the doors open. It's a public meeting.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
kind of distracting, I mean, we're on TV, aren't we?
Now, we're being recorded, but we're not actually on TV unless you guys want.
All right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna be there another half hour anyway.
All right, so you got lots of pieces of paper here, and I apologize for not having your notebooks ready yet. It's been a long week already.
I have several of those, I don't know if it was supposed.
That's okay.
Pass
So
it
the
down,
first
but I
one,
missed.
the first important one is the long one.
Oh, I got solid waste for here, a couple of them.
This one here?
The long one, yes. And there's another long one that goes with it, the
Yeah.
small long one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I didn't do the assessing correctly. So this talks about what we actually spent last year, and we did not overspend any any department. We did overspend some budget line items, which you can look through here. Supplies, we overspent. A lot of that is copies. What's that? Electricity we overspent. No. What's that? Oh, generator repair we overspent. We had some issues with our generator this year. So that was that was fixed. Let's see what other big ones we had. Here's the
Abatements.
Yeah, that's not overspent though, because
Right.
that is gonna go away in my audit. The grants goes away in my audit. Those have all been spent. Eureka maintenance and repairs went a little over. They had some issues with some of their stuff over there too. Workers' comp. We knew that was gonna be overspent. I'm up to fire now. Chief's probably gonna have to tell you why some of these things were overspent. And he comes in, he says he's gonna be finished, with his budget by next Tuesday.
Right, well, equipment maintenance, I would imagine, is probably that electrical harness.
Yeah. So public works, workers' comp, we knew about. Communications, I think that has to, no, that doesn't have to do with that.
He often would say anyway that I'm not held to each line, I'm held to the bottom line, so.
Yes. The one thing that he did say, because we have to explain certain things to the auditors.
Right.
They pick certain lines that are either well overspent or well underspent, and we have to explain it to them. And two of the lines that they picked out were paving, because that was underspent, and then the surface
Right.
treatment. And that, we know, is because Calvin chose to resurface some stuff instead of
Right.
paving it.
And he kinda gave the same explanation, was that, I got so much money to work with, and that's what I did.
I did have a question with, in the Parks and Recreation, there are a couple numbers that are negative numbers versus being in red. Like, I
Okay.
know where things are overspent, they're in red and they're in parentheses, but underneath both of those red numbers and the flags are in the subtotal, there are black negative numbers.
Okay, wait a second, I
That
gotta
just
find
didn't make
myself
sense to
in.
me.
I'm not sure, I'm not seeing where you're,
Line,
We're in recreation.
so Parks and Recreation,
Which page?
Oh, I see
page
it.
4,
yeah.
department, no, there isn't, it's line, or account line 34, electricity, flags and upkeep for War Memorial Park.
Okay,
And then in the
That's-
subtotal line for June,
Yeah,
and
that-
again in November, there are
Negative
these
expense.
negative expenses.
Negative expense, which is a positive. So somehow we got a credit or something in that line.
Maybe the fundraising or
so
something.
yes,
Okay.
so what ended up happening this year was they actually fundraised more than they spent. And so at the end of the year, I moved that money into a general ledger account so
Okay.
that next year they can use, I mean, because we can't take their money.
Got it.
So that's why some of those are negative numbers.
Okay, it was just mostly an accounting question, really.
No, that's okay. I have
So-
a question too.
You're talking about under November, the negative 6330,
Right, and
heavy
in,
black?
and in June, there was a negative 262.70.
Right, so
Okay.
in the War Memorial Park, we actually took in more money than we spent
And the reason
because of the fundraising.
the cells on those are formatted differently. So
Right,
the 337.70 is formatted to go red with parentheses for negative, and the other one's formatted to just do a negative in front of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's actually a positive.
It's a positive expense, so it's
It's a negative expense, which makes it,
Right.
it's basically income.
Right?
Yeah.
We didn't spend it, that's what makes it income.
Well, we didn't, it's not only we didn't spend it.
We took it in.
We took it in, and it was posted to this account, rather than posted to an income account, it was posted to here.
right. Because theoretically, that we had budgeted some money for the War Memorial Park project that Hunter was working on, and he was supposed to do some fundraising. He did more fundraising than he actually spent. So, that's why that's there.
I'm just trying to keep my negatives and my positives. When we're positively ahead and it's a negative number, I'm just trying to keep all that straight.
Yeah.
So another good example of this is under Public Works for April. If you look at the road commissioner's salary and workers' comp, we've got some negative numbers in there, or we've got the red,
Yeah.
and so on. And I bet you that's because what we took in from Pownell exceeded what we paid out in salary during that month. So they probably paid us for 2 or 3 months
So-
at that point.
Are those reds that are in parentheses, those are actually negative?
Those are negatives, yeah.
Those are negative expenses.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so if you look at the month before, the 430192, we spent that much. Then for April, the 21510 is we credited to that account $215.10 more than we paid out in that account. So,
And I had talked to the auditors about this too, because the reason I do it this way is because I don't want our budget to look inflated. So in order for our budget to not look inflated, we have to use the Pownell payments as a direct
right.
It's
It's a reimbursement.
Reimbursement, yes, it's a direct
It's a reimbursement, and for that month, they reimbursed us more than we spent.
right.
Because they were paying for several months of it.
So
at once.
Calvin has asked, and Jen and I, Jen's my auditor, have agreed that the reimbursement for the truck expense, he would prefer that in a revenue, because technically, some of it's depreciation, so technically you could make it a revenue, and so he would like it moved from the expense of maintenance to a revenue, because that throws off his maintenance line. So we're gonna move that. It's like $3,000. It's like $3,300 a year, so.
And he's not coming in tonight, correct?
Calvin, no.
We don't have anything from.
Right, no, I was just looking at the winter equipment maintenance line being overspent by almost $11,000.
Yeah, he did,
I understand that the maintenance on the trucks had not, yeah, I understand that there were issues as to getting them inspected and what have you. That's just a big,
yes, that was another one.
This was also we were still not working off full year numbers.
right.
Right, and so now we may have a better idea, now that we've got this out there, because there are a lot of lines that are well underspent too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, his total budget is
Yeah.
well, this is through November 30th, right?
No, this is through December, but that's not the right number, and I don't know why.
Yeah, because you said it was 130 something.
Yeah,
right?
it's 139, I believe is what it was. And I'm trying to figure out why that's so off.
Hey, well, again, because I say this every year, I really think we need to look at going to a town-wide capital plan, capital fund, and really plan town-wide projects instead of all these siloed capital accounts.
We've only got 2.
But there,
Oh,
and then
well,
we'll have a third if we do.
I mean,
we've got a
the
plan
only
for
the only
repairs
issue
here.
the only issue I have with that, I like the idea, but how do we transition? Because the fire department has $75,000 set aside already, and the issue that how do we transition? Because it's not fair to pull that and throw it into.
But it's still
And
taxpayers' money that would still be used for other
no,
town-wide tax projects.
It's already, that's been specifically designated to that particular.
But I mean, they're still going to have the use of.
It actually becomes harder on the department heads to come up with a 10-year plan when you do that, because now you're.
I'm working with unknowns, really.
Now you're working with one pool, and you want to put this much money into it and take this much money out of it. But if I mean,
I'm looking at it, or at least a town-wide capital plan, so that we have some sense of where the big hit expenditures are coming. You know, I know that the chief wants another truck, and Calvin is planning more Bond Road things, and I
Well,
think if we could sort of map out big expenses on a town-wide basis as opposed to a department-wide basis, there's a benefit for the
but if you've got it by
townspeople to see.
department wide, you've got it by town wide. If Calvin presents, this is my, and Chief presents, this is my, you've got it. We have been lax on doing anything for
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was thinking about looking at it in terms of planning so that you aren't essentially pitting department heads against each other on town floor of we can either do this one or this one, and then everybody's sort of advocating for their thing, as opposed to having a broader calendar of, okay, we're going to do this year, we're going to do this for the fire department next year, we're going to do this for the town office the following year, and having a more comprehensive plan.
The thing is, I don't see that. We're gonna need to do stuff for the roads every year. We're gonna need to do stuff for the fire department almost every year. The town office, the administrative part, not quite so much. However, this roof is 30 years old.
So we've gotten a estimate on the roof and some of the other things that we're working on, getting estimates on.
And I definitely think, I mean, we need to get into get into a plan for everything. And I wouldn't mind having a single one, but I can actually, I'd almost guess that the department heads won't like that because, I mean, well, take the fire department, for example. They've been working hard on this for 15 years and have worked hard to put together the plan and how it and so on. And
But I think that's exactly the point that I'm trying to make, is that I don't think it should be so territorial from department to department. Mine, my plan, my money, and then public works, mine. You know, I'm looking at a broader, the town needs all of these things. How do we fit all the jigsaw puzzle pieces together
Well,
so that
it's how do you
purposes of
transition to that?
taxpayers
Because
planning.
it's absolutely unfair to pull this, and actually illegal to pull this money from.
I'm not talking about pulling it, I'm talking about a plan though, a comprehensive
Maybe
townwide
what you
plan.
do is you set up at some point, whenever the decision is made, at some point you set up a whole new umbrella account. And when the other accounts are depleted with what they are, then that's where you,
Or even people keeping their accounts, but even just a broader, a broader spectrum view of what the capital needs of the town are, so that the townspeople have a sense of what's coming, as opposed to kind of, as I see it, sort of pitting department heads against each other on town floor for, you know, is it my fire truck this year, or is it my new road, or is it, to
That's
let
gonna-
people really kind of look at the
That's
full
going to happen
spectrum.
any time anyway, because when you go to spend, whether you're coming from one account or 6 accounts, you've got to get the vote of the town to spend on that. And
Absolutely.
So it's always going to pit. They're always going to be, well,
Well, no, but what I was talking about is it was a plan that fits different people, different departments' interests in at different points over time, rather than having people fight it out each year for whatever their big project is.
I see both sides of that. I don't know how you can.
I don't think there's any way to ever separate that, because
The tough part,
it's going to be, it comes down to the priorities of the town that particular year, who shows up, and
the tough part of that is doing it the other way. It's the way we're doing it now, is then people ain't gonna get a realistic view, or they may have a less opportunity to have a realistic view of that department's budget, and that will throw it in the mix too.
but I mean, I think we've already started. So I mean, with what we've put out there last year for roads, we already have an idea now of what we're looking at in cost for roads over the next. I mean, and it's daunting, and we already have an idea of what costs for the fire station are going to be in today's dollars out about 10 to 15 years, and that's quite high. Yeah, we don't yet have an idea of what we're looking at here. I mean, because I know the roof, and I'm sure there's other things, but
The heating system, the
And-
cooling system.
I mean, and so then you have the other thing is you actually have, like, the fire department brings in 50,000 plus or minus in revenue every year from transports, Does that now go into the town-wide capital fund? Realistically, that should go, I mean, it would make sense. Now,
Well, and that, on that particular line item, I actually disagree with you wholeheartedly, because I see every year in the budget a line item where we pay for those transports, and then when they get reimbursed by the insurance company, I think that should offset what we are paying out for those transports, and it doesn't. It goes into their trust account. So
yeah, but that's,
that part
I mean, the
do see.
transports, that's a minor, I mean,
That's
that's,
always a line item in the budget is intercepts, and then that money comes in and it doesn't offset.
I mean, that could be one, that's a very small portion of what we bring in. That's maybe 3-4% of what we bring in, I think, the intercepts.
I'm just saying we pay for them. The town pays for them every year. They're a line item in the budget, and we pay for
Brought
them.
in $72,000 this year.
And when those,
And
and that
when-
money doesn't, the revenues don't offset the expenses on that. And as it was explained to me last year, but they go into the trust account, and we just have to pay, we'd have to have some other appropriation for the trust account, and I get that.
Yeah, it kind of is almost
So
like if we were to
spent
budget-
$4,900 in intercepts. That's really minor compared to what's brought in. Now, we could
72 grand brought in,
ask
is it?
for a vote to adjust that so that, we,
So that pays for itself,
but it's,
but it isn't gonna, I mean, it's not gonna change it. We
But-
talked about it last year. I understand
I
that.
mean, I think one thing and one of the issues is trying to find people who are willing is, maybe we look at a capital committee and then the department heads can go to them, say, this is what we, and so on.
Right, taking the things that they've
But-
already done. I'm
but-
not saying that to scrap anything that anybody's done. I'm saying to fit it all into one town-wide plan. I did have the opportunity this year to go to different towns in the area and go to their town meetings and see. And I went, and they all have a sort of town-wide capital
And that's
vision where
part-
each department has taken their needs and they fit it all in
I
together.
I
into
think
a
we're
central
about 3 to
calendar.
4 years away from that.
Yeah.
That's because they've done this for a long time. We are just starting to do this for roads. We haven't even touched it for
Absolutely.
the actual.
Oh, I don't
Yeah,
expect us to.
municipal
North
part.
Yarmouth doesn't have any debt. They don't have any bonds. They don't have any debt.
But
North Yarmouth.
Oh,
Stunned at their town meeting.
yeah, that's
I
it.
was like, looking at their town report going, what do you mean you're buying a new truck? Where's the bond payment?
What's the
Well-
mill rate in North Yarmouth?
and that's actually that was, and he gets thwarted at it every year. But that's why the chief wants to put more towards that, so that you get ahead of it, and eventually you're going to have enough money in there to pay. You could have enough money in there to pay for stuff without bonds, and then you start saving interest. But you almost have to double up on it for several years ahead of time, and the town's not ready to do that. And yeah, it would be great if you could save the interest on bonds.
Right, but we're getting such a low rate that it's.
Yeah, it's very inexpensive right now.
But I think that's something that needs to be looked at, and you actually need a plan before you can come up with a plan, because we started it disjointed, and to be able to get it to come together, and to have the department heads to agree on that, because chief will not want to do that. So you say that we're pitting one against the other, but if we do this, we're doing it again. We're still pitting, and the other thing, you might reduce the number of articles on the town warrant. But when you come to the town and you want to put $250,000 aside for all your capital needs in a year, and so on, that's a lot harder to pass than $50,000 for one department. and, because they look at the big number, and even.
Right, I mean, I was just thinking about it in terms of transparency or planning for the town to kind of see, looking forward at the big picture of what our capital needs are for a town as a whole, not just.
But I think you really do need a capital committee to put that together.
Oh yeah, I have no
I don't know if
expectation that
I don't know
anything's
if
going
we've
to
got
change.
anybody that can, I mean, we can put out feelers, we can, this budget year, we can, although we've got the comprehensive plan, yeah.
I think it would be useful for people to be able to kind of get a big picture.
Well, that could be,
I move to adjourn.
that could be part of that comprehensive plan.
Actually,
Technically.
that is part of the
Right.
comprehensive, that's one of the things I think they look at is capitals,
Right.
Right,
capital
what are
plans
the
and stuff.
long-term capital goals.
Yeah. Okay, does anybody have any more questions about what we spent last year? I will be updating this and correcting anything that gets changed because of our audit.
Okay.
So the next one I want to look at is our workers' compensation figures for 2017. It's the black and white one that I just kind of handed you guys.
Oh, the black and white one?
Yeah. Well, most of them have some kind of color on it, but the black and white one doesn't have any
Small.
color on it. Yeah, it's small.
Small
It
and
says
black and white.
extrapolation
Oh, right
of
here. Okay. Hey, it's
2017
right on top
workers.
even.
So I keep playing with this. So if you look over to the right, this is the important part, the total by department: administration, public works, fire, animal control, and telecommunications. So this year, you'll notice I also split out animal control and telecommunications to put under their budgets for an expense, which isn't a lot of money, but it makes me feel better. And the gray part is what we're actually going to be spending this year. And the reason it's a little bit less than what we're going to be billed is because this year I actually incorporated the figures that, the amount that Pownell's going to be paying us. Last year I didn't do that. I just paid put the whole thing in the budget. I didn't take that out. So that's what we're looking at. That's a 29,000.
Yikes.
Yeah.
51 grand for workers' comp.
Yeah, and that's after the reimbursement from Pownell for,
Right, and, well, we've had accidents in the
Yeah.
two major departments.
yeah, we had another accident come on to our experience mod this year. So,
What happened? I heard a truck went off the road and they had a difficult time pulling it out.
Well, that has nothing to do with workers' comp.
No.
yeah, that's possible. I know that they had a breakdown.
I mean, that happens.
Yeah, there's been a couple, but yeah, that doesn't affect the
Fire
workers'
truck or
comp.
plow truck?
There was a plow truck off the road in somebody's yard and they needed the other one to try to pull it out. That's
Yeah.
what I saw on Facebook. They said it's right on my front lawn right now.
Well, I don't know.
That happens.
Very icy.
That
Yeah,
happens, and
Yeah.
it's not, it has nothing to do with this.
No, I know.
But, okay, so what did we spend this year? Do we know? I mean, I'm just kind of wondering how
I
much.
want to say it was in the 40s.
Okay.
But we also got a dividend this year, so that made our hit not quite too bad, 2,200. For me, let's see here.
What's the difference between the public works line of 30,719.62 and the 36,266 you have as for Calvin, winter, and summer? This versus this.
That's Calvin's base pay,
Oh, okay.
Durham's portion of his base pay, right?
Durham's portion of his base pay based on a rate of 2% raise, but that's what I based my figures on in figuring out what our cost for him would be, and then what portion, the 1603 is Pownell's portion of that. So, you sidetracked me, 20,000, and then whatever Public Works was.
Yeah, I mean, you can, if you had that information when we get to the administration budget, or to the budget, that's fine too.
Okay,
Because you've got to look through a whole bunch to figure it out.
okay. I will write myself a little note. What was it last year?
That's huge though, I mean, that's a big jump to 10 grand.
It's 1/12 of our payroll. If you look at what we have there, it's 1/12 of our payroll.
So there's more to chew on. All right, so let's go on to animal control. Take a quick look at animal control. I have not heard anything, so I don't know any more information.
You never got back to that letter? No.
And he never submitted mileage before
Nope.
the end of the year?
Nope, I haven't heard a word. So anyways, so the salary I bumped up, and the reason I bumped it up was because I took out mileage. When we had redone the description of the job, we had taken out the mileage. So to cover the mileage without actually asking them for mileage, I bumped it up. So FICA and Medicare and workers' comp all go towards that 6,000. You know, we had budgeted supplies last year, and a lot of that supply money was supposed to go towards rabies shots, but that never happened. And so this year I just put 300 in for a new cage and a couple of possible other supplies that we might need this year. I don't know if you guys want to contemplate putting money in for more training. There's supposed to be 8 hours of training per year, so I put in $100 for one training class. But I don't know what's going to happen this year, so we need to think about that. And then the Coastal Humane Society stayed the same as last year.
Yeah.
What's been the feedback? I mean, you know, in the grand scheme of things, we're not saving tons of money by going about it this way. And I know he's been non-communicative, but are people happy with has there been any feedback of
Have we had any
this
complaints?
method versus when we
There's
were
been
going
a
through
couple
this?
of minor issues where he hasn't gotten back to somebody, but that's recent, like in the last month.
Was he maybe getting sick of us harping on him for
Well,
more? But it's like it doesn't
I-
matter. I mean, we need to.
Let's hold
Yeah,
up.
I suspect that this is an executive session discussion.
You're right. I just was trying.
Yeah.
We left one system of using Lisbon PD to hire our own. Now that we've had that in place for a year, I just was curious if there had been, without getting into those kinds of specifics, but
You say it's not much,
if
but
there had been a
I think it's
difference
probably
in feedback.
2 to 3
About $2,000.
2 to 3,000. Yeah, because that's right. We've got all the other stuff back.
That we're saving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was more about responsiveness though and availability.
Well, that's what I was trying to
Yeah.
figure out is what the feedback from.
No. This wasn't. Us
was a-
doing what we did had absolutely nothing to do with that. It was all about the money.
That's
Yeah, it
not my
was.
recollection.
Oh no, it was all about the money. It was.
I was one of the people screaming about the lack of availability.
Yeah, it was.
It was about the money though when it came
It was
down.
almost all.
Every
'cause-
time I've called the guy over in Lisbon, at least 3 times, I've never had anything from him.
Yeah, this was brought. I mean, for the most part, this was about the money.
It was.
Yeah, I just was curious if there had been sort of in general terms a difference in responsiveness or feedback or.
So, I mean,
You hear things. I mean, I've heard things like there was an issue with a goat and that he helped somebody build, a fence to keep the goat out of the neighbor's yard. So I've heard of him going kind of above and beyond what's necessary, but I've also heard of him not responding. So, I really,
A little bit of both. Yep.
without some sort of
there-
accounting, I don't
Right,
know.
and so but not a huge shift or swing from the
No,
previous.
it has
like-
not been a huge shift.
And that non-responding could have been such as none just
okay. So
Anyway.
assuming.
next.
Called, they didn't hear back 5 minutes.
So next is the cemeteries. This one that I have next, so that's where we're going.
That's the one we have next.
Cemeteries is not a big jump. They asked for a little extra money in their equipment and materials for some minor repairs and tree removal. So that bumped it up by $350.
Do you know how long they're in the mowing contract for?
They do it on a year-to-year basis, as far as I know.
All right. It seems like they are very slow on getting on the mowing, like they're doing it the Memorial Day weekend, and it should be done prior to, so, I mean, and, but they don't think there's any projects that they need.
Nope, I asked Joe.
Okay, I still think that they need to look at the cemetery on Brickyard Hill Road. The retaining wall is in very bad shape.
So I will ask Joe.
I don't know. Is it Yank?
Yeah, Yankee Artworks, I think.
Is it?
Yeah. Yep. All right, conservation has not changed
Yep.
at all. It's the same as last time. Eureka Community Center. They went down quite a bit on the propane. I think that will cover us. And then they had asked for some extra money for repairs this year. But they really balance each other out. So it's actually a decrease of the 533, and they're not going to do any big projects this year either. They're waiting for their capital account to grow a little more.
Okay.
And this doesn't reflect any rentals, because it seems like they have been renting it more.
No, I haven't, I don't have the well, I do have the figures, but
No, that's fine.
not here.
General assistance.
General assistance, I figure we just leave it at the 3,000. We didn't have any issues with it this year.
Well, yeah, it was really low, like $400, $500 total spent. Yeah.
400 and something like that. I think there was one at the end of this year, so I think I went up to 500. Yeah, we don't have a lot of general assistance. Solid waste, you have two in front of you, and the reason you have two is because one is with Pine Tree and one is with Tice Waste. Just so that you can see the difference in the overall budget. And that's just for this year, and the change would only account for half of the year, and actually not even half a year, 5 months.
I thought there was like a difference of 30 grand here.
No, it was.
There is over the life of the
it
3-year
was-
contract.
Over the 3 years.
It was
right,
like
right,
12.
Right. Okay, right.
It was like
Over the
12,000
3
for
years,
the first year.
Right, but
Yeah.
it's only accounts for 5
This
months.
is 5 months. It's only
Right.
5 months this year. The rest of it's on Pine Tree.
So it would increase next year,
Yeah.
the
Right.
difference
I
would.
think the over the
And if
life
you
of
want
the-
me to-
Yeah, I wasn't, yeah. There was
And if you want me to do it out for like the next couple of years, I can do that.
No, that's fine. Yep, I just
Well,
wasn't.
so you
But
can
if-
see it.
or it would, certainly when we meet with the budget committee.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
just gonna say, we definitely want it for that, because they're gonna,
So what are, just out of curiosity, what are your thoughts on this as far as how are you leaning?
I'm leaning where we are.
You know, that's this. It's just a scary risk to think about. I mean, he seemed like a stand-up guy, but I mean,
I did have the opportunity, just unrelated to, I crossed paths with one of the people he listed as a reference, the head of the Lewiston Auburn Landlords Association. And I met her on a different matter, and I was like, oh, well, I'm talking to you. And they've been really happy with Tice. They had nothing but good things to say.
That's not curbside though. That's more probably.
I think it's probably scheduled pickups
Yeah.
at each, you know,
I was a little
whoever contracts
disgusted by
with
the
them.
way the two of the from Pine Tree, it's like he stood there and talked about I can, and he never said anything negative about Pine Tree, and all they did was sit there and try. We don't think he can do it. He's not comparing apples to apples, and I didn't
Well,
care.
that
I didn't
may-
care for their tone.
That may be the case, but I mean, actually, that's where. So, I'm leaning to putting both out to the voters
Yeah.
to give them the option. But as far as recommendation, I think I would lean towards Pine Tree because they have given us very good service, and I
I would like to see the
think we will
automated
take
pickup.
I think we'll take a big step backwards, especially on bulky waste day.
That's one of my big concerns is.
I'd like to see Pine
Yeah,
Tree
yeah.
drivers not pulled over on Plummer Mill napping on Friday mornings. That,
Oh,
that
unreal.
would be,
Well,
that would be my request.
what time?
Mid-morning, they usually, I think they've done like whatever section, and when
But-
they're ahead, I've seen it enough times.
What does it matter? What does it matter? We pay a contract price. Now, you can report that to Pine Tree if you think if it's an issue,
They'll-
but
they'll enforce it, yeah.
we're not paying them directly.
Well, which is what I've said to the taxpayers that have commented on it to me,
Yeah.
is we pay them a flat rate whether
Because
they're.
I didn't know if it was, because I know I've seen in other towns, like before 7 o'clock, there's a start time, so
Yeah.
the truck is waiting, sitting on the side of the road, waiting to
Or is
start.
it break time or something like that?
Actually, that's
Break, it could be
mandated
anyhow.
break.
Yeah.
There are mandated breaks, so.
I'd like to see them step up with the automated pickup like they had talked about. And the way they originally proposed it, it sounded like they could save almost what we were taking in trash tags. And I don't think people need to pay extra trash tags. I think we pay enough in
I
taxes
saw
in this
that at
town
work in
that
South
I could
Portland
get my
today. I
trash
was
picked up
behind
every
one of
week
those
without
trucks.
having to pay extra.
The trash tags, I think, have gone a long way in increasing the recycling.
But if you have a bin for recycling and a bin for trash, and you can only put recycling in this one, that goes a long way too. And it's a lot bigger than
That
the
was
bin we
my-
currently use.
That was my concern about Tice, is that I did not feel like I left that meeting with a straight answer about
Single stream.
single
He was,
stream.
he was actually supposed to get back to us with a list of what
If
his,
it all has to be sorted and in different bins and what have you, I think that's,
no, we're definitely not gonna go away from single
Gonna-
stream. I don't, I mean, that was, there were several things that increased it. Number one, the trash tags, that absolutely increased the recycling. Number two, single sort, that increased it
I
again.
would say it has more to do with the single stream. And again, if they had the two separate bins, you can't throw trash in this. People are gonna throw their recycling in there. I think that the silver bullets is what turned people off from recycling. When you had
That
to come
did
down
too.
here and sort it all out and throw it in this and throw it in that, and that's what people, they weren't
I mean,
gonna bother with it,
That
but
did too. But just look at how much you're protesting the cost of the tags. You don't wanna buy the tags.
Well, right, but
the
So-
silver stream, the single stream, I think is an issue that I think that
This-
needs to be resolved by Tice. He sort of hedged on that, and I got the impression that he was talking about sorting, and I think that will
This has been.
dramatically reduce
I mean,
recycling.
and I honestly don't think from everything I've heard around town, the sentiment hasn't changed. This has been a very strong feeling in the town that we do the tags. Where they started with 52 back in the 90s, and they were very adamant to go to 26. I think there was an effort to try to increase it to 52 again. They were very adamant that this is what they
automated
want.
pickup, you can only fit so much trash in this barrel. You're still gonna have to throw your recycling in this barrel.
Those barrels are huge.
They're the
I
same
was gonna
size that I
say, we
use
don't
in my
have any-
house right
we
now.
don't-
I could fit 2 trash
They're
bags in my
40,
barrel.
they're like 40 to 45
Aren't they
gallon
like the
barrels.
ones that we have out
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
That's what I have at home.
I
I
have
can
a
fit
30
2 trash bags in it. I can
I-
fit 2 trash bags in it. It's just like one of the ones out there.
Yeah, but, I mean,
Other week.
I don't
what
put
about
trash
the
out every
weight?
week.
The part of it's the weight, because we get
I'm sure it's over 25 pounds, but it's in the bucket just like it shows. So,
they should reject it.
well,
I mean, if it's over 20, I mean,
It's kind of subjective. You have to weigh every tag.
But
I mean, if it-
I don't think they complain until it gets
No, I
40 to
I
50.
recycle everything I can,
I was
You're in the
really,
diaper years, dude.
Well, there's that too, yeah.
I was really impressed with Tice, and I really at some point would like to give him the opportunity, but not having the equipment to do the bulky waste thing and looking at buying a pack of it you don't have right now to try to take care of the town, all that scares me because
Yeah.
we tried to go with a less expensive on the mower, and granted the numbers are way apart, but and and give somebody
And
a chance and look at
Concerns
that.
too,
With
where
only a
if,
3-month lead time.
Right.
and if his Packer went down, he was gonna come in with his pickups and stuff, and
And
now
I
you've
have-
got all this slew going
I
on the
have no
roads and off
doubt
the side and stuff like that,
He
so.
would actually get the trash picked up
Yeah.
anyway. I firmly believe he's a hardworking guy. I have no doubt that he would do that. But we can't take the chance to have the town be in a pickle like that, because
Right.
it's gonna come
I
back
would
and bite us.
very much like to see, though, Pine Tree sharpen their pencil a little
Seriously.
bit.
I
think that
agree.
just
They've never
this
gone down in
automatic
price, that's for
2.5% or
And I-
whatever it is every
yeah.
year, there's no math to that. There's just, that's just how.
And I
it
thought
works.
about that.
Do you want me to do the bank run and mail run tonight?
Yeah, if you could, that would be awesome. Thank you, Shannon.
And I thought about that, and what I looked back on when I was thinking about that was our plowing contract. When we started doing all the research back in the day on the numbers to see what the cost was, we figured out that it was actually roughly about a 5% increase each year. So, not to defend them, because I agree with you, I think they should sharpen the pencil a little better, but you gotta have some number, and that's the number they come up with, is 4%.
We forget though, the last contract they came back to us, they stepped back
Right, they went backwards.
and so on. And costs increase. I mean, salaries go up.
Workers' comp goes up.
Comp goes up, costs of trash trucks go up.
Well, in their industry
And-
too has a high level of
Tipping fees, because we're paying the tipping fees indirectly through them. And
I wasn't real happy with, and I would have to agree with Josh a little bit with some of the comments as far as, when you start talking about, well, our guys have to have this tested, and they have to have this, I'm pretty sure that Tyson knows if he's driving them kind of trucks, his guys have to have the
Well,
same
right, they were
thing.
implying that he was not following the law.
Right,
and
and
he was not
that kind of
following
I
DOT
didn't-
regs. I was offended by that.
Yeah, I didn't like that
I
too
didn't
much.
pick it up on that as, have them saying that as much as, them putting out, and
When you're-
I don't think they needed to do that particular thing, but putting out to, you understand that these are things that you've got to do. I was fine with the things about, them asking, does he have enough equipment to do this? I mean,
Right.
because we have, and it's their job to sell
Oh, I
themselves.
agree.
I mean,
There was
But
a
you
couple
can sell
things I-
yourself
But you
without
can
knocking
sell
the other
yourself
guy, you know what I
that
mean?
trash and
Because
make
he
it-
never said one negative thing
But
about the other guy.
what is their thing to sell? Their thing to sell is take a look at what we've got. You've got really good service right now. What are you going to get with this? Because with this unknown,
Well,
it's
they
an
could have
unknown.
just said, we know the town, we know the roads, we've had a history of great service, and they could have left it there. I thought they were patronizing and rude, as if he didn't know what
That's
he was
I'm saying.
doing.
They're
I thought
Casella,
they were-
they sell themselves, you know what I mean? They don't need to.
And I think that, and maybe not in the so far future, maybe before this next contract even comes up, I think, at least from my gut feeling, the way Tice was presenting and what he was doing, what he showed us that he has been doing, I think he's gonna grow quite a bit and be a lot bigger, and be a lot better competition.
That's what I mean, he,
But I think that's down the road.
that's one of the
for
things.
us.
I think he needs to have that first truck before we
Right.
can, and he needs, I would like, if he picks up 3 or 4 trailer parks, or, does a weekly door-to-door pickup and so on, so he can come and say, yes, I do door-to-door pickup on a weekly basis, this many households. It takes me this much time with this equipment. I mean, I really think although I think-
Ultimately, I agree with you that the price differential between the two is so large that I think allowing people to debate it on town floor, and then they take some ownership of what they get.
If they're okay with taking a step back in service, I mean, then fine, let's,
I don't want to sort my recycling.
well, he said, I mean, that actually was part of the contract, wasn't it, that was
I
single
think
sort?
it is, yeah.
And he was supposed, I don't know if you want, well, actually, it should be on him. He was supposed to get back with us with a list of what his,
Right.
the company that he goes to will take.
Right, because I know that Casella was implying that whatever he was talking about was not single sort, that it was, they kept saying that it was having to be sorted and what have you. He originally presented it, when he presented to us, as single sort, But when Casella made their presentation, they made it very clear that whatever facility he was talking about working with was not a single sort facility.
So, well,
But that's where I'm leaning. I'm leaning to stay where we are for those reasons. But I do think he'll be competition in the near future.
And-
About that.
and at that, I mean, invite them both to be at the town meeting, because there'll be questions. And,
Yeah.
it's actually quite possible if Pine Tree acts the same way, people could get turned off,
Yeah.
and so. I think Pine Tree was probably surprised this year, because it's been 2 cycles without
Right.
any competition.
Yeah.
And the cycle before, the competition was not, I don't think was not that great.
And it was
Competition before.
Almighty, I think,
and
Almighty,
it was
okay.
such a big gap.
with the Almighty one, or?
No, with this time around, that
Yeah.
I think they had their backup. Oh, they were a little
Yeah,
defensive.
yeah, that's, they absolutely were defensive, but it's like, yeah, I didn't
Those
care
are
for
great.
their.
I mean, we did a dumpster this fall from them, and they have phenomenal customer service. They are so pleasant to work with and so on top of
Casella?
it. Yep.
Yeah.
They're actually almost too good, because we're one of the first houses being picked up, and they're going by my house at 8 o'clock, and it's like, if I don't have my stuff out,
It's supposed to have it out by 7.
yes.
I don't like their workers asking me for money at Christmas time.
I know.
Their workers asking.
They've never-
That's what they want. When you put that card on your can, they're hoping you're gonna put money back.
Oh,
in.
I don't have a can.
Oh, see, yeah.
Maybe.
I just put out.
Maybe they're just doing just what that seems like. I don't know.
It's a tip. It's about a tip.
I didn't think
I didn't
so.
I didn't get a Christmas card this year, and to be quite honest, I've thought about throwing out a Dunkin'
I
Donuts.
did last
card
year.
for
Last year I put
Nicole.
some scratch
Nasty
cards
job.
out there for them, but that's what that's
I've had
about.
those a couple times. I haven't taken it that way.
Okay.
So,
It may be.
so solid waste, is that pretty much everything we have right now, right?
That's pretty much everything we have right now. I was doing the math on the insurance. So the insurance this year went up 11.25%. So I don't know where you guys want me to go with this.
So, actually,
The
the
health
health
insurance?
insurance.
The health
So
insurance, sorry,
that's
yes.
what I don't, I hate to bring this up, and so on, but we've been this is, I think, the second year with double digit. Last year was very close to 10%, I think, if it wasn't over. And
The health insurance costs,
health insurance and so on. And
but that's every company.
it is, but most businesses, it's being handed down in such, so let's say they were doing 80-20,
Yeah.
they changed to 75-25.
Right,
And
right.
things like that. And it's not something I want to do, but I think it's something we at least need to discuss, and whether, because there doesn't seem to be any stop to this, and the town can't continually absorb 10% on this. I mean, we're talking somewhere in the neighborhood of $17,000 to $20,000 for a family plan that the town is covering. And you look at, if you look at a 10% increase every year, that's a lot of money.
It's all gonna get repealed in another year, so.
What?
Well, this has nothing to do with it. This is
Health insurance?
Well, I mean,
But this isn't Affordable Care Act health insurance. This
No.
existed before the
But
ACA.
it has an absolute impact on every person's insurance
Yeah,
policy.
yeah.
Every person.
I agree that that act could have affected the price of insurances throughout. But on the other hand, this is a separate product from
This is a
that.
separate product,
But-
and we were complaining about increases
my-
before the ACA.
My guess is, even with the repeal, you're still gonna see increases like this, because the cost of healthcare is increasing too.
The whole.
And the
Thing
usage of healthcare is increasing.
Right.
But what's your suggestion I'm picking up on is do some more research?
Not necessarily research. We already know what it's gonna cost. We've researched these to death over, last year, and then 2 years before that. There isn't, so there's several ways we can go. We can continue to offer the same plan and the same rates. You know, we can do status quo. We can offer the same plan and do different percentages. We can offer a different plan that costs less and use the same percent. There's several things that you could do. Each one of them has an effect on the town and on the employees. And we are both employers and servants of the town. And how do you balance that? If we went with something where we decided to cut the percentage that we chipped into it and so on, it's going to make the employees less happy. They may look elsewhere because most other towns are offering somewhere in the same range as we are.
DOT's hiring 90 people.
And things like that. So we could.
That's not going to be a good, you know.
If we made changes, we got to think. You know, could it affect our employee base as far as who we can retain and who we can hire later on? And so these are all things we have to talk about, and I think we do have to discuss this. We have been pushing it down the road and saying we want to continue to offer what we have and so on. But
We did take a long, hard look at it last year and looked at doing the health trust account and making adjustments. And ultimately, I think my recollection is determined that the administrative costs of that
that
far outweighed any
Right.
potential cost saving.
right. I mean,
At least in the
It
first few.
as far
We
as
don't have enough employees
Employees
is
to
the
make it
problem,
worthwhile.
yeah, as far as ease of, you know, here's where we can find our savings. The easiest thing is adjust the percentage that we chip in for. But that's, I mean, and
I got headhunted by this law firm. I got offered a job, this law firm in Rhode Island, and they sent me all their health insurance information. And it was so absurdly expensive. And here they're a huge national law firm, and they don't pay they pay like 40% of the employee, none of the family. And it's a firm is out of Rhode Island, so all their networks are in Rhode Island. So then you have to pay for the higher end plan, that's the PPO plan, so that you don't have to have so you can use out of network people. And I'm like, so basically what you're telling me is for roughly $2,200 a month, I can have a $5,000 plan.
so actually that is another thing that we could look at is
HMO
maybe-
versus PPO
well,
versus.
no, changing, we could chip in more towards the employee health insurance and less towards the family part, or things like that. And I know some on the budget committee have been pushing that for years, but I really hate to make changes on it, but I think we actually do need to discuss it, and, because I think we've been pushing off the discussion of it. We've been saying, no, we want to stay with what we've had and so on, and then the budget committee comes in and discusses it,
It
and
comes up on town floor.
I think we should get some quotes from a private company too, just so they can see
we've already
why
done,
we stay with MMA.
we've done that. The problem is that takes time, and how often do you do it? We did it
He's gonna wanna see it.
2 to 3 years ago, and the difference was astronomical.
Can we find that information at least, so that we can remind them why we stay with MMA? I don't know, I felt like they got it last time when I told them, it's like we're pooled with 69 other municipalities.
It's a huge tip. The more
Yeah.
people you can pull,
Yeah.
And, I mean, MMA's prices aren't out of whack with other companies. I mean,
Yeah, they're better
they're right
deal than a lot
about
of
the same as what mine
Right.
runs when you look at the whole cost and things, and the benefits are similar.
Right. They do breakdowns, what is it, this, not the salary surveys, but they do these surveys where they show you, for the amount of dues you paid in this year, this is the benefit you got. And
Right.
so, I didn't
Right,
have that with
we've
me, but
had
if I would've had that
we've
for
used
Chuck
those
that
before
night,
though to
it was
explain
like,
why we belong to MMA. We had to justify
Yeah.
that, like 2 years ago, they were all
And
about.
the biggest thing is that it's a time suck and if they, and it, to me, it seems like a waste of time to do it every year.
Well, here's the thing,
Well,
you're,
yeah.
you're the chair of the budget committee, you could do the same damn thing.
No, we're supposed to feed them all the information, and I understand that, I mean, it is part of our job to justify why we're asking what we're asking.
Right. But the budget, many members of the budget committee have been on the budget committee for a long time, and so the institutional
Right.
knowledge of the budget committee, I would anticipate would understand some of those numbers and why we wouldn't have to do it every year.
All right, I'm sure we'll discuss this more when we get to those line items, and then when the budget committee gets to those line items.
If you guys hang around for a couple minutes afterwards, I can run you guys the revenue for this year too. We were up in our revenue quite a bit. Excise tax was up by $80,000.
That means next year it'll be down because nobody's gonna buy new vehicles.
It was like last year though, too, as I recall.
Yeah, it's been up every year.
It's been trending up some,
People won't have to buy new vehicles as we fix the roads. So, yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
well,
we shouldn't fix the roads, so there you go.
so, and actually, I mean, some of the people used to like to, I mean, hang on to their cars for long times and so on because, well, for one thing, your excise tax and so on went way, way down. Now, well, after 6 years, it levels off. It never goes down as low as it used to.
Well, people used to also, we'd oh, yeah, no, I paid $100 for the car.
People used to fix things then.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
world has become very disposable.
Well, and yeah, things are much more electronic. It's a lot harder for people to
Right.
fix. It's more expensive to fix.
Now that the excise is based on the MSRP instead of what your bill of sales says, so.
Yeah, that's the state ripoff.
Yeah.
Are we all set then? I don't know that we don't need a motion.
No, we
We can
never-
just
yeah.
declare the workshop closed.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.